Hi, happy Wednesday. If it's Wednesday wherever you are, it's Wednesday here in glorious Vancouver. I'm in the studio at the Canadian College of English Language. If you don't know me, if this is your first time here, my name is Shaun. Hi, I'll be your teacher for the next hour or so. And if you have been here before, I see some familiar people in the stream already here in the chat. Rosa's here, Kayo's here. Karim, of course, is here. He's just downstairs. But it's good to see him, too. Obviously, if you've been here before, you know that we've got our moderator, Lane, in the chat there, too. If you guys have questions throughout the lesson, put them in the chat, and we'll try to answer them as clearly, as efficiently, and as often as possible, OK? We may miss a couple, but we'll do our best. All right, and of course, I think Zach's in there. Mark might be in there. Karim is in there. Lots of people there to support you, to help you answer some of these questions. Okay, so good to see you. Let's get started. All right, let's jump right into this here. There I am. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. Not much of a. Sometimes I like to tell long stories to entertain you to get started, but we're just going to dive right in today because we've got lots of stuff to do here. Okay, so today our focus is going to be on writing, academic writing. Yes, that thing that drives so many students so crazy, writing, that so many students find so difficult, that keeps you awake at night, academic writing. Right? Hey, Bruno's there. Good to see you, Bruno. All right, who else is there? Lots of people there. Writing that causes both physical pain and mental, emotional anguish for you. Yeah, well, don't be so sad. All right, today we're going to be looking at a specific topic connected to writing, and I'm here to tell you that if you find writing difficult, if you find it, if you end up like this sad person crying in the rain, there's hope. Okay, I'm here to give you hope. There is light in the darkness. All right. Today I'm going to be talking about two specific things that will hopefully help you with your writing, your academic writing or your business writing, whatever you're using your written language for. I'm here to help you with that, hopefully. Okay, so let's go through this door together. Let's all hold hands and go through this door and figure out a thing or two about writing here, okay? So really my focus for today is to take you from here with writing to here. Look how happy she is. Yeah, she's having so much fun writing. And that's what I want you guys to feel like when you're doing a writing assignment. Well, as close as you can possibly get to being that happy doing a homework assignment. Okay, so what we are focusing on today, the two C's maybe, writing skills, coherence and cohesion. And I'm focusing on this specifically because a number of students have asked me about improving writing skills. How do I write a good paragraph? How do I write a good essay? How do I improve my IELTS writing score? And really it comes down to these two things, coherence and cohesion. Because anytime you're writing an essay or any kind of writing assignment for a teacher, for the IELTS writing section, TOEFL, whatever it is, they are marking you, they are evaluating you based on, among other things, these two things, coherence and cohesion. Okay, so today we'll start, I'll tell you what these are, and then I'll tell you kind of how to improve your coherence and cohesion. Okay, so writing skills. Let's get started. Really, the first question is, what's the difference between these two things, right? These two words are often used together. Sometimes students will confuse the two. Obviously, they even look kind of similar to English students, perhaps, which is unfortunate. It's too bad, but they are not the same. Okay, so the first question is, what's the difference between coherence and cohesion? All right. Coherence, or the adjective coherent, right? Coherence is a noun, coherent is the adjective. When we're talking about coherence in writing, really what we're talking about is logic. Is your writing logical? Is it understandable? Does it make sense? Okay, do your ideas, do your sentences and paragraphs make sense, is basically coherence. Can we understand them? Cohesion is not exactly the same thing, okay? So the adjective for that is cohesive. I'm going to be saying these words a lot here today, okay? Coherence, coherent, cohesion, cohesive. So cohesion really means the ideas in your writing are linked from one sentence to the next sentence, or from one paragraph to the next paragraph, okay? Now, even looking at that, you might still not quite see how that's different, right? What's the difference between the ideas make sense and the ideas are linked? But we'll hopefully explain that a little bit more clearly as we go, okay? Because we're going to be looking at both of these today in detail, and by the end of class, they should be easy to tell the difference between the two, and you should be able to improve your overall writing. Okay, so let's focus first on coherence. Okay, so some questions that you should ask yourself when you're writing a paragraph or an essay, or even an email if you're writing in English for business or for your job. Two questions are my sentences coherent? Are my paragraphs coherent? Okay? And that really just means, do they make sense? As I said, are they understandable? Will the reader know what I'm talking about? Yeah? And this is what we mean by coherence. Now, when it comes to writing a coherent sentence, it involves everything that you learn in an English class, from vocabulary, grammar, word order, even spelling. All of these things can affect whether or not someone can understand the sentence you're writing, okay? But we're not going to focus so much today on the coherence of individual sentences, because really that is that's your entire English language education together to make sure that you can write a coherent sentence, right? That's every grammar lesson, every vocabulary word you've learned, all of it will help you write a coherent sentence. And some of these particular points we'll deal with in other classes. But today we're going to be focusing more on the coherence of the overall writing assignment. So paragraph coherence, or the coherence of an essay, for example, okay? But I will give you one kind of tip first about writing coherent sentences, okay? I'm going to give you lots of tips today. Coherence tip number one. Are you ready? Here it comes. Do not rely on Google Translate to write sentences, okay? Please do not. Help your teachers out, and don't use the Google Translate so much. Google Translate or any kind of translation software, is a valuable tool. It's really good, but it will let you down, okay? It's one of those friends that's there, he'll buy you a coffee, and that's nice, but on moving day, when things count, he's not going to be there for you, okay? So if you put a sentence into Google Translate in your language and click Translate into English, chances are it will give you something completely messed up, okay? So just to show you what I mean by that, oh yeah, I think I put some exclamation points there, right? 3, because I'm serious about that, okay? So earlier today, I took a random sentence. Don't worry about the actual topic, but it's car-free street parties are good for tourists as well. This was my sentence, okay? What I did, I took that sentence, I put it into Google Translate, I translated it into another language. I think I chose Arabic, just why not? So I translated it into Arabic, and then I took that Arabic sentence and I translated it back into English, and this is what I got, okay? So the original, car-free street parties are good for tourists as well. That's perfectly coherent. The translation is celebrations in the car-free good for tourists is also the streets, okay? So as you can see, the translation will affect the word order and the word choice, and it will mess up the coherence of your sentence. A question coming in from David Wilford is coherence the same as unity? And thank you for your question, David. That's an excellent question. And the two are very similar. I would say that unity is one kind of subpoint of coherence. Unity is one piece of coherence, and I'm glad you asked that, because we're going to be talking about unity today as well in relation to coherence. Good question, David. Thank you for that. So as you can see here, Google Translate let me down. Okay, so using it for individual words is okay. Don't put sentences in there. It can be disastrous. All right, so that's tip number one. Okay, tip number two about coherence, okay, is coherence is subjective. Now, subjective means it's different for one person or another person or another person. All right, so what I mean by that is something might be coherent to you. It may make sense to you, but it might not make sense to someone else. And the other way around. You may not understand something, but someone else might. Okay, so you have to be careful with that. Now, again, just to illustrate my point, just to show you what I mean, I wrote just this random text. Electric purples got me by the brain banana, LOL. All right, so if you get a text like that randomly, you probably have no idea what that means. I don't know what that means. You don't know what that means. But this guy, he might know what it means if it's coming from one of his friends. Maybe they know what electric purple is. Okay, so coherence depends on the situation. It depends on how much one person knows. Okay, so just again, to be clear, if I say to you, blue 42, downset, hut, 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 right? If I say that in a restaurant, it makes no sense. If I say that in a classroom, it makes no sense. But if this is a football game, and this is me talking to the other members of my team, then they will understand what this means, okay? So the point is, that's American football, of course, right? The point is that coherence is not the same for everyone. Now, the point I'm trying to make is you have to be very careful in your writing that your paragraph or your essay is not just coherent to you, but is more importantly coherent to the person reading your paragraph or your essay. Okay, always think about the reader. Okay, so moving on to the next thing. Now, when we're talking about writing coherent paragraphs, this is really what we're going to focus on today. Okay, a topic sentence will help with coherence. Okay, if you have a topic sentence in your paragraph that presents the main idea of the paragraph or each paragraph, it will help your reader. Okay, so topic sentences using relevant supporting sentences, meaning ideas that are connected to the topic sentence, yeah? And making sure that your sentences are in a logical order. All of these things will help your reader understand you, okay? They will help you in your attempt to write a coherent paragraph. So what I mean by logical order is you may want to put your sentences in order of time, for example, if you're telling a story. Space, meaning if you're describing a room, for example, or the order of importance when you're trying to order your ideas in a paragraph. Okay, so all of these things together can help you with coherence. Now, when it comes to a topic sentence, I won't spend too much time talking about that today, because if you want to know how to write a good topic sentence, you can go back and watch actually our very first live class number 1, and that's all about how to write a topic sentence. Okay, but what we talked about in that lesson, and some of you I know were here for that, we talked about how the topic sentence helps the reader understand the paragraph, okay? And that putting a topic sentence in the first or second sentence of the paragraph will give the reader the idea that they should be following in that paragraph, the main idea of the paragraph, okay? So making sure you have a good, clear topic sentence is one really good way of achieving coherence. But of course, it's just the beginning, okay? Because what I want to talk about now is tip number 3. Coherence tip number 3 is stay on topic, okay? So make sure that all of your supporting sentences in the paragraph relate or connect back to the main idea. Make sure that you're not getting off point or you're not talking about something that's not related to your topic sentence. All right, so for an example, I'm going to give you a couple examples here, and then I'm going to get you to work for me here. All right? Topic sentence is this: music class should be mandatory in high school. All right, I just wrote that earlier today. That's my topic sentence for a paragraph based on opinion. Okay? Now, if I'm writing supporting sentences for that topic sentence, I can really only focus on music class, mandatory, high school. If I get away from that, then I'm losing that coherence. I'm losing that unity that David was referring to earlier in his question. Okay? So, math class is important. That is not connected to the topic sentence. That's not coherent. High school should serve breakfast. That's a great idea. Sounds delicious, but it's not connected to the main idea. Okay? When I was a child, I wanted a pet unicorn. Again, not connected to the main idea. Here, I'll hop out here so you can see this. Now, these sentences are not connected to the topic sentence, so get rid of them. All right? Instead, give me sentences like this. Music class can develop creativity. Learning an instrument can improve grades in other academic subjects. And music class teaches history and culture, which are important. Okay, so when you are writing the rest of your paragraph, again, the point is make sure that all of your sentences are connected back to that topic sentence. We've got a question coming in from Rosa. It says, can we write a topic sentence, then an explanation, and then an example? Yeah, you sure can. Yes, the simple answer to your question, Rosa, is yes, you certainly can. And again, if you're curious more about topic sentences, check out that first class on topic sentences, and I think we talk about that very thing. Good. Selma thinks I still want a pet unicorn? Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I can hope, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so forget about me and my pet unicorn. What I'd like you guys to do for me now, actually, I'll get Lane, if he would be so kind, as to put the exercise into the chat so that you guys can open this up so that you can see it. All right, I'm going to make it nice and big so you can see this. All right. I'm going to pop off of the screen in a minute, but this is what I'd like you guys to check out. I've written another topic sentence, and I've listed 6 supporting sentences. Okay, so this is kind of to practice this coherence or this unity that we mentioned before. All right, the topic sentence is taking too many college courses at once can have potentially serious consequences. That's the topic sentence. Then as you can see, you've got 6 sentences here. Now my question for you, and I put this at the top of the document here, which of the sentences below would negatively affect the coherence of the paragraph? Or, as David mentioned, the unity, meaning which of these sentences below are not related to my idea in the topic sentence? So take a minute. I'm going to pop off the screen. I'm going to put that happy music on for you guys to listen to inspire you. Read each of these sentences and then decide which of them should be removed, which of them do not relate to the main idea of this paragraph. Okay? I'm going to pop out of here, and if you have questions, put them in the chat, and also, I guess I should say, whatever letter or letters you're removing here, put your answers in the chat and then we'll talk about them together, okay? All right, guys, get to work. Find me the sentences that are not relevant. Okay, I'm going to pop out of here. All right, everybody. Good stuff. Lots of answers coming in. Lots of different answers coming into the chat, which is cool. It's good to see. Now, I didn't tell you specifically how many sentences were wrong, how many sentences negatively affect the coherence. So it's interesting to see some of the answers coming in. So two of these 6 sentences do not belong, do not relate or support that, that main idea. Okay, so a few people maybe said A along the way there, but A is actually fine. Students can be overwhelmed with the workload and their GPA can suffer is definitely connected. It's showing a possible result of too many courses. GPA is your overall average grade in university. So A is fine. B is good as well. There's nothing wrong with B. Some students can get so stressed that they burn out and are unable to finish the degree. That definitely relates. A few people said, I see some people saying C. It says, other students can be tempted by the use of illegal drugs to help them focus and keep them awake into the night. I would say that that's still related to the main idea as well. The use of drugs can lead to other potentially serious consequences. So I think that's related. Most of you caught D as one that does not belong. Okay, so let me go in here. And I think you guys are right about this one. Okay, so D, taking more than the average number of courses at the same time can be beneficial for students who want to graduate early. Now, you're absolutely right that that is not relevant to the main idea. In fact, I see Raphael, he says that it actually contradicts the topic sentence, which is true. It actually is the opposite of the main idea. Okay, good. And now, I don't think anybody really said E. Everybody likes E. And that means by process of elimination, F is also irrelevant, does not relate to the main idea. Taking on too many responsibilities at work can have similar negative effects. Now we're still talking about negative effects or consequences, and that's good. But now we're talking about work. We're getting away from the subject of school, of university, and therefore this doesn't connect and it's irrelevant. It would be getting off topic and it would be having a negative effect on the coherence of your paragraph. Okay, so get it out of there. And if you keep the rest of them, like so, let me go full screen. If you keep these 4 sentences and you expand a little bit on them, get some more detail, that would be a really good paragraph, actually. Throw a concluding sentence on there and a few more detail sentences, and then you're good to go. That would be a very coherent paragraph. Okay? So that's good stuff. That's one side of coherence. That's what we call unity, as David asked earlier. Okay? So let's focus on another side of coherence. All right? I'm going to go back into the presentation here. Okay? Because it's time now, everybody's favorite, the mistake of the week. Okay? The mistake of the week, and today it's going to be the logic edition, the coherence edition. Okay? So I want you guys to look at a sentence for me. The question is, what is the problem with the coherence of this sentence? Okay? Now forget about unity for now. Let's just focus on this one sentence in front of you. It says, by the later part of the century, in most homes, both parents worked full-time. As a result, frozen and prepared foods became more popular. Okay, so take a minute, look at this sentence. I'm going to pop off the screen for about 10, 15 seconds. Think about it, look at this sentence, and in the chat, again, you can tell me, why is this sentence not completely coherent? What's the problem? If you wrote this sentence in a paragraph or in an essay, why would your teacher have a problem with this sentence? And I'll give you a hint. It's not grammar, it's not spelling, it's not word order. It's about the coherence and the logic of the sentence. Okay? So I'm going to pop out again. All right, that was a tough one, I guess. Yeah, I like to torture you guys a little bit, make you sweat. Yeah, but I think Selma's got it. Okay, something coming in from Jay Young. There's no proof of frozen or prepared foods become more popular because of these days' parents. Okay. Okay, more stuff coming in. This is good. Okay, Rose is saying there's no relationship between work and food. Bruno agrees with Selma. Everybody agrees with Selma. I agree with Selma. I wrote this sentence for you guys, but Selma is absolutely right that the problem with this sentence is that it seems to be kind of missing a piece of the puzzle. All right, it seems almost complete if you look at it very quickly, but when you really look at the sentence, the logic, the coherence of the idea, there's something missing there. Okay, and what you guys are telling me here in the chat, what Selma's saying and what you guys are agreeing with, is that this cause and effect, this causal relationship between the first part of the sentence and the second sentence, or second part, is unclear, right? I'm saying that parents worked full time, and because parents worked full time, frozen food became popular. Now, the tricky thing about this is that most of you probably understand what I mean, right? You probably know what I mean is that the parents work full time, and because they work full time, they don't have time to come home and spend time preparing a home-cooked meal, and because of that, frozen food and prepared food became popular because it's convenient. And that makes sense, but the problem is, with writing, you have to make sure that all of that information is there to be coherent. You can't make your reader put that puzzle piece in, okay? It's your job as the writer to make sure that the puzzle is complete, all right? Well, that's a huge thumb, that puzzle piece, all right? So this is what I've done to change it. I've taken that original sentence, but I'm going to say this. By the later part of the century, in most homes, both parents worked full time. I'm going to take that part out of there, all right? And had less time to prepare home-cooked meals, okay? Now I'm going to add that other part back. As a result, frozen and prepared foods became more popular, okay? Now you've got more of a complete chain, a logical sequence to explain the relationship there. And because of that, now the puzzle is complete. Now again, it can be tricky because when you write a sentence yourself, it might make sense to you, but you have to make sure that it makes sense to the person reading it, all right? So good job. What a beautiful puzzle that we've made here together. How about this? Let's practice this one more time, okay? I want you guys to do one little quick activity with that before we move on to talk about cohesion, okay? Now, on this document, if you have a copy of the document, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just look on the screen here. So I've written just two sentences together, okay? Many children see their parents get regular exercise and maintain a healthy diet. As a result, they are more likely to have healthy lifestyles as adults, okay? Now, again, if you look at these two sentences, you might see the connection there, but someone else might not. They might still look at it and say, well, why? What's the connection between your parents getting exercise and then you getting exercise and being healthy as an adult? I don't see the connection. So you can't assume that the reader is going to understand it. So your job now, and again, I'm going to pop out of here, what I would like you to do is add more information to these two sentences so that that puzzle is complete, so that there's no missing pieces and there would be no confusion, to be as coherent as possible. So take a minute or two, let's take 2 minutes or so, and give me one or two more sentences or add information to these two sentences to make that causal chain complete, okay? Take a couple minutes, put your answers in the chat, and again, I'm going to pop out of here and give you the happy dancing monkey music, and if you have questions, put them in the chat, okay? I'm out of here. Okay, good stuff. Lots of good stuff in the chat. All right, I know this is a tricky one, but this is good. Okay, so many parents see, or many children rather, see their parents get regular exercise and maintain a healthy diet. As a result, they're more likely to have healthy lifestyles as adults. But why is the question? What's the connection here? And we've got some good answers coming in. What do we say here? So I'm just going to take little pieces of answers and put them up here. So I think Azim said, whoa, there we go. And they will follow them. So many children see their parents get regular exercise and maintain a healthy diet, and they will follow them. Okay, that's a little bit more clear. That's good. Jayon, I'll put yours up there. Very similar idea, I think here. And they try to do what their parents do. Okay, putting that in there somewhere would be good to clarify things. Good. What else? All right, how about this one? This one's coming in from Bruno. Put that here. So Bruno, I think he's starting off with the behavior of children, I would say, is influenced because behavior is uncountable. So the behavior of children is influenced by the parents' habits. So maybe putting that at the beginning of the sentence would be would be good. So if you take this whole thing here, maybe copy it, put it down here. Ooh. All right, just a second. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so Bruno says the behavior of children is influenced by the parents' habits. Let's say maybe put a period there. Many children see their parents get regular exercise. As a result, they're more likely to have healthy lifestyles as adults. That's good. That's great. That's really all you need. And I see lots of other good stuff coming in here too. All right, what else do we got? Oh, Marianne's coming in a little late. That's fine. Better late than never, as we say. Okay. So how about this? I'll give you one possible answer here. And I would say, basically my answer would be a variation on what Bruno has said. I would say something like, children use their parents as models for, what we say, acceptable behavior. I'll go British here, okay? And then, just like Bruno did, I would put that, I'm going to even steal his sentence. I'm going to put that down there like that, just to be lazy. Children use their parents as models for acceptable behavior, right? They look up to their parents. Many children see their parents get regular exercise, and they are more likely to have healthy lifestyles as adults, okay? And that's what we're talking about with coherence. And I see still some good answers coming in there. Caesar is putting some stuff in there. Yeah, good. Okay, so this is what we're talking about with coherence, just making sure that all of your ideas are logical, that it makes sense to the reader, okay? But there is something else that we need to talk about today, and that's cohesion, all right? So let me go back here. Let me go back into this pretty puzzle, and let's continue talking about this stuff here, okay? Cohesion is not the same as coherence, okay? It's definitely connected. And, well, appropriately, here's the chain. So cohesion is about linking, okay, like a chain. When we're talking about cohesion, as I mentioned before at the beginning of the class, it's about linking sentences to the next, one sentence to the next sentence, one paragraph to the next paragraph, making sure that it's clear to the reader that this sentence is connected to the next and the next and the next, okay? And that's really what cohesion is, but it's important to know that cohesion is not the same as coherence, all right? Just because something is linked does not mean it makes sense, all right? So to explain this, right, I've written this little, well, I don't know if this is a story. I've written this for you, okay? Shaun lives in Vancouver. Vancouver is a city. City rhymes with pretty. Pretty girls have all the fun. It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye, but there is no I in team. Okay. Okay. Right, that's my story. Now, this does not make any sense. Okay, it's complete nonsense, complete garbage, all right? But it is cohesive, right? So if you look at these sentences, you can see the connection from one sentence to the next, right? I mean, you've got Vancouver, city, pretty, fun, and I, okay? So you can follow that train of thought, right? It's a, it's a crazy train, right? It's a train you don't want to be on, but you can follow that. You can see where it's going, all right? But it still does sound like, Marianne thinks I should write poetry? Well, I'm practicing. That was the whole point of this, actually, was just to practice my poetry for you guys. I'm glad you like it. So cohesion and coherence are not the same, all right? Cohesion, not coherence, but cohesion helps the reader follow your ideas. Therefore, cohesion helps you achieve coherence. It helps the reader see where you're going, and as long as your sentences make sense and the order makes sense, then it's all going to be coherent and cohesive, and it's going to be beautiful, okay? All right, so cohesive devices is what I'd like to talk about for the rest of this class. We still got lots of time, 15 or so minutes. That's lots of time. Okay, so how do we show the connection between sentences? Well, the easiest way, and what you guys I'm sure know by now, is linking words, right? These linking devices that we use to connect one sentence to the next or one paragraph to the next, all right? And I'll go through a bunch of them quickly, but again, I won't spend too much time on this because if you want to know more about linking words, again, you can go back and watch, I think lesson 2 and lesson 3 are all about making different kinds of sentences and linking words. So we've talked about conjunctions like the coordinating conjunctions of fanboys, words like and but and so. These are cohesive devices. These show the connection. You've also got subordinating conjunctions like although or when or if or until. Adverbs can be cohesive devices, right? Adverbs like however, therefore, in addition, as a result. And we have so many other examples of adverbs. Also time order, right? If you're explaining the steps of a process or a story, you're using that first, second, next, then, subsequently. All of these words are cohesive devices and link sentences together, okay? But again, as I said before, it doesn't matter if they're linked. If the individual sentences don't make sense, then you still have a problem, all right? But one thing about these cohesive devices, these linking words, that you have to be careful of, all right? Because I've written something else, and if Marianne didn't like my last poem, she's probably not going to like my story here, okay? Because you have to be careful not to use too many linking devices. Look at this is my story. I had a long day. As a result, I was tired. Therefore, I went to bed. However, I couldn't sleep. In addition, I was suddenly hungry. Consequently, I got up and went outside. It's a terrible story. Okay, now don't feel like every single sentence you write needs a linking device at the beginning. If you go into an IELTS test or something like that and just put all of these linking devices all over the place, it doesn't necessarily help your writing, as you can see here. Okay? There are other ways of linking your ideas together, other cohesive devices. So let's look at this. Let's go into the next thing here. So again, I want you to read these, I think it's 2 sentences here, and I'm going to pop off the screen so you can see it. I'll put the music back on. First, I'll read through it myself. Students often feel tremendous pressure to achieve a high score on their final exam, and in order to do so, many will stay awake all night preparing for the test. However, research has shown that this can actually be counterproductive. So my question for you is, what are the cohesive devices in this little 2-paragraph, 2-sentence paragraph that I've written here, okay? What words link the ideas together? Take a minute, maybe not even 30 seconds, and find as many cohesive devices as you can and put them in the chat, okay? I see Selma says, that's really boring. I hope you're talking about my story and not my class, but I can take it anyway, that's fine. So I'm gonna hop out of here, look at this paragraph, or even 2 sentences, and find me as many cohesive devices as possible. How am I connecting my ideas, okay? Go for it. All right, so that was good, and that's what I was expecting to see, those answers that you guys put in the chat, and that's great. Okay, so when we talk about cohesive devices, most people think of the linking words that I just mentioned before, right? Words like and or however, right? These conjunctions or the adverbs that connect one clause to another or one sentence to another. You guys also mentioned in order to, which is also a linking device, which is good. That's great. But as I've said before, there are many other ways that we do it. And just in this little two-sentence paragraph that I've written, there are several other cohesive devices that I've used. Okay, so let's walk through them, just so that you're aware of them, so that you're looking for them when you're reading and you're using them in your writing. Okay, so other cohesive devices would be, here I've written the word final exam, and later in the sentence or in the next sentence I wrote the test. Okay, so one cohesive device is repetition, right? Repeating keywords, using synonyms, using sometimes antonyms even, to make that connection from one sentence to the next, or one clause to the next, or one paragraph to the next. Okay, so repetition is one. That's good. All right. Next, this guy here. Now, do so. Some of you put in order to do so, and that's really kind of two cohesive devices together. In order to would be kind of that linking word or linking phrase. In this case, do so is what we would call a reference, right? So in this case, that word so is referring back in the sentence to this, right? Now the word so means to achieve a high score on their final exam, right? So that word so we use all the time to avoid repetition, to avoid saying the same thing again, and to refer back within the previous sentence or the previous paragraph, right? Something as simple as saying, I think so, right? Is she coming to the party? I think so. So means I think she is coming to the party. So it's a reference, okay? And that's not the only reference that we use in this two sentences here. This guy down in the bottom, the word this. So small, but so important when it comes to writing and reading. When you want to make sure that you're connecting ideas, or when you want to try to follow another reader's ideas, always keep your eye out for this word this, or these, or those, or that. Because we often use this to refer back to the previous sentence or previous idea. Okay? Now in this case, this is a cohesive device because it means stay awake all night preparing for the test in order to achieve a high score. That's what that little word means, okay? So it really refers back to the entire idea of the previous sentence. So this is gold. It's really good to look out for that word and to use it, okay? And I think there's one more that I put in here, is there? Aha, many. Now in this case, remember that many is also a kind of a reference, but it's almost like rather than repeating or referring to something, we've taken something out, is what we call omission, right? So in this case, I'm using the word many, and that means many students, but I'm not repeating the word student, okay? So you have to look out for words like many, others, some, few, both. All of these words, pronouns, and determiners can be used to refer back to something previously to make that more cohesive sentence or paragraph. Okay, so use it and look for it as well in your writing. So just to sum up, other cohesive devices that you should be looking for and that you should be trying to use: repetition, like keywords, synonyms, antonyms, antonyms meaning opposite, reference, pronouns, of course, like it or he or she or one, or those relative pronouns that we've studied in class before, Words like this, as I said before, words like so are really good ways to refer back. And omission. Now we've got a question coming in. Marianne says, but many doesn't mean all students, right? Okay, so let me go back in here. Marianne's question is, many doesn't mean all students. Well, no, you're absolutely right, Marianne. It doesn't mean all students, but it refers to students. So that's the point of omission, is that you're using this kind of quantifier, this word that we use to show how many or how much or the like, right? Many, much, some, both. But oftentimes we'll use these words, but we will take the noun away because we've referred to it already. So you're absolutely right. When we say many students will stay awake, we definitely don't mean all students. But we could, in fact, use the word all without the word students as well. So it's the same kind of idea. But good question. I hope my answer was coherent. Yeah. Okay. So omission, as we said, many, some, most, others, will refer back to something that was previously said. Okay. So keep an eye out for those in your reading, and try to use them in your writing. Okay. Another question coming in from Rosa. Just a question that in academic writing we can't use many because we should be precise. Is that right? No, I would disagree with that. I think that, Rosa, your question saying that don't use the word many because we have to be more precise, not exactly correct, I wouldn't say. I think that's too general. There aren't many words that I would say don't use ever in academic writing, but no, many is okay to use that. Chateau 7 coming in says, shouldn't there be a semicolon in place of the first comma and another comma after and? Oh, wow. Okay, let's take a look at this. You guys throw me some curveballs here? Okay, so Chateau 7 wants to know if there should be a semicolon here instead of this comma. Is this the question? Because I would say no, you don't need a semicolon there, because the word and is that coordinating conjunction. The fanboys, right? One of those 7 words that you can use with a comma in order to combine 2 clauses. Okay, so this is really this is a compound sentence, yeah, and I'm using the word and in order to connect. Students often feel, and many will stay awake. So you got 2 clauses there. So no, that comma before and, if that's your question, are you telling me I'm correct? That's good. Okay, good to know. Okay, good to know that I'm correct, I think. Or are you telling me that I'm correct, like that was the right place? Yeah. Okay, I'm just totally confused now. That's fine. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question, Chateau 7. No semicolon necessary there. We don't typically use a semicolon before the word and. Okay, we just use that comma. Okay, good stuff. Oh, another question coming in from Selma. Which one is more academic, many or a lot of? I would say many is more academic than a lot of. I wouldn't necessarily say that a lot of you can't use in academic writing. I think it's fine. You can go more academic and more formal than a lot of with words like, how about numerous? Wow, amazing. Yeah, go for numerous or something like that would be okay. A great deal of would be more academic, perhaps. Wow, lots of good questions coming in here, guys. This is good. Okay, so let me go through all of this. Is there anything left to say? Oh, just this little book heart here. I think my point of putting this in here is to remind you that all of this stuff about cohesion is not just to improve your writing, but to improve your reading. If you're looking for all of these cohesive devices like this and so, and all of these linking words that connect ideas, that will make you a stronger reader. And if you're a stronger reader, you will be a better writer. Okay? You can't be a good writer if you're not a good reader, and it all starts with that. So looking out for these cohesive devices in your own reading, seeing how English people use them in writing, and then trying to use them yourself is really the key. Okay? So I hope that lesson was coherent and cohesive. All right? I hope you find it helpful, because unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to practice, one thing that you can practice before we run away, we didn't have time for it today, but I did include a third little exercise here on the third page of that document, where I've written a short paragraph with some missing sentences, okay? And below you've got 6 sentences, and all you need to do is decide in which space in the paragraph these sentences go, okay, where they belong. So how about this? Let's do things a little bit differently. You can do this for practice, and how about in a couple days, I will put the answers to this exercise in our Facebook group, okay? Learn English on Facebook. I'll put that up there for you guys to check your answers, let's say by Friday, okay? So take your time and see if you can do this. Put them in the right order. Think about everything we've talked about with coherence and cohesion, and see if you can do it. And keep practicing, keep writing, keep reading, keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, let me pop out of here. Let me go big with the green screen behind me, okay? It's always a pleasure to see you guys. And I'll stick around in the chat for a couple more minutes before I go, just in case anybody else has questions, okay? And I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you here next time, next Wednesday, regular time. And that's it. It's been my pleasure, as always. See you later. Bye-bye.